good evening, good morning from wherever you're joining us. It's really been a pleasure to have you. For some of you, you're joining us for the second day in a row. So thank you so much for bearing with us and, joining us the second time. We really appreciate you taking the time to look at the pipeline that we prepared for you and also support these entrepreneurs throughout their journey, especially in terms of, providing capital. So we're really delighted that you could be able to join us. We also do hope that you had a lovely time at Sankam yesterday and you're continuing to have a lovely time even as we close day 2 and look forward to day 3. So from the session yesterday, we had 6 early stage companies pitch to us, from various sectors, various geographies, as some of you saw. So if you're really, interested in speaking to any of those that showed up yesterday, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll give you, we'll connect you directly with the entrepreneur and send you their materials as well. But for today's session, we're going to have a bit more, early to growth stage companies. So these are companies that are really in the cusp of, growth, and they're looking for capital to sort of facilitate that growth. So these are 4 companies that will be pitching to you today. The reason they are, fewer in comparison to yesterday is that we are hoping you'll have much more time to interact with them today, given, their stage of their stage of growth. So hopefully you'll be able to interact more and ask more questions. And if you've not had a chance to see my email, which contains sort of materials of the 4, please feel free to reach out to me or my colleague Ariel directly, and we'll be able to sort of give you the link and the password to access that material. With that said, we have 4 companies today, one from South Africa, another 2 from Kenya, and 1 from Tanzania. And of course, again, diverse sectors. So we have a healthcare company, we do have an agri company, 2 agri companies, and 1 in the circular economies. I'm hoping that some of you have already interacted with these companies, and so you'd be able to ask more informative questions, as you look to sort of build your own pipeline and also assess these companies for further on capital. So we're really glad that you could be able to join us. So just to reiterate, we will begin with Siraj from South Africa. Siraj is actually in the healthcare sector, and he's been able to join us for Sankam Summit. He has a booth on Umbrella. So if you want to actually interact with him more, please feel free to reach out to him there. But for now, I'd like to introduce Siraj to quickly share his screen and then take us through his business. And then afterwards, we'll have about 7 to 8 minutes of question and answer. And again, if you're interested to speak further with him, please feel free to reach out to us directly. So for now, Siraj, if you're online, kindly share your screen or your pitch presentation. And then whenever you're ready, please feel free to start.
Everybody can see and everybody can hear me?
Perfectly.
Perfect, thank you. Good day, my name is Siraj Adams. I'm the co-founder from a company called Iyeza Health. We are based in Khayelitsha in Cape Town in South Africa. We are aiming to be a global leader linking clinics and hospitals to medication through and ensuring timeless delivery for patients who are at risk. We focus on using innovation and connectedness to deliver a world-class service in low-income communities, from clinics to patients' doorstep. And we obviously also are very people-focused, so we look at the system as a health system strengthening, community system support process, where we employ people from the community who know the townships or the low-income communities as part of our team. So we started off with a lot of people sitting in the queues in the public sector in South Africa, waiting 3 to 4 hours, and then potentially not collecting their medication, which results in a non-collection rate of 5 to 20% of these people that are on chronic medication on a monthly basis. So we came up with this basic bicycle model where we charge 20 Rand as a convenience fee for people sitting in these clinics and say, you know, for next month's delivery, we could do it for you, and then we would deliver it to their home or their work. And as a business over the years, we've started to vertically integrate into the supply chain for these chronic parcels. So these are pre-packed parcels for diabetes, for hypertension, for HIV, for TB, from the government depot, pre-packed, delivered with delivery vans to clinics, and then from the clinics we would do the last mile logistics. So fortunately for us, we managed to get a subcontract, and we're actually part of and vertically integrated into the delivery of these pre-packed parcels to the clinics. So we're delivering it from the depot. We use the parcel number. We track that parcel number all the way through to when we deliver it to the patient as well. So as part of our revenue diversification, we started to look at public sector revenue and private sector revenue as a way to support our sustainability and grow our business over time. So in 2013, obviously, it was just purely a bicycle system, starting with 3,000 patients, and then moving up in terms of numbers of parcels being delivered. We then looked at what was also a big prevalence in South Africa, which was HIV. We then managed to land an HIV self-testing kit distribution contract, which allowed us to expand screening support. So that was a huge opportunity for us to become a formal medical device distributor as well. We started to get involved in partnering in the private sector, distributing our kits into retail pharmacies as well. We started to look at ways of diversifying into e-commerce, so developing family planning platforms for women to be able to access contraceptives conveniently, discreetly, all supporting that original model of pharmaceutical products being delivered to your home. In terms of our milestones to date, since we started, which was in 2015, we have 12 pharmaceutical clients using our services in various ways, either bulk delivery or individual parcel deliveries, various retail clients, and revenue about 16 million Rand to date, with a 44% gross margin. Cumulatively, we've delivered 3 million parcels and 7 million items, and we've created 24 jobs. So in terms of the way we see the landscape evolving within our context, last mile logistics is still obviously something that we want to focus on. So that's still going to be a part of our core business. We want to start looking at partnering with pharmacies now, because pharmacies also distribute parcels to their clients, and they want to see a more convenient service. So we created like a bit of an Uber app to hail a courier to a pharmacy for a patient's delivery. So basically, township model being replicated into and linking into those retail pharmacies in the private sector. And then, like I said, we're also looking at various aspects of specialized e-commerce platforms such as family planning as well. So I think from a logistics perspective, we still want to see ourselves tapping into the public sector for the volume, and then in the private sector, partnering with certain key role players as well. So we've also, through a previous investor, been able to obtain our own pharmacy. So we own 2 pharmacies. We've got warehouse capability, 2 4-ton trucks, 6 caddies. We've got 10 electric bikes, and obviously some of the riders have their own bikes, so some of them are like sort of owner rider models. And in terms of the mobile platform, we've built our own Uber app type system in terms of route planning, proof of delivery, as well as being able to integrate our e-commerce platforms into our logistics management software. Because of our warehousing capability, we also built our own inventory management system. And ultimately, be it HIV products, family planning, vaccines, it goes through to our logistics management, centralized logistics management system, and then we just deliver through to clients as families or individuals or as couples. So just to reiterate our traction, 2018, 2019, 2020, COVID had a very positive effect on our private sector demand for our services. And that was, a great stepping stone to sort of convert patients in the private sector that were potentially averse to home delivery services of the medication and preferred going into a pharmacy. Now with COVID, they were like, no, I don't want to go into a pharmacy. Please deliver to my house. So that adoption rate was and the client acquisition cost was a lot lower. These are our clients. So you can see the pharmacies, the pharmaceutical clients, the various NGOs. We work with Department of Health as a subcontractor, Medicine Sans Frontiers, Desmond Tutu. These are all research partners, and then certain employee groups. So all the banks in South Africa, all the female employees get their contraceptives delivered by us nationwide. We use third-party partners, courier partners for outlying areas, and then certain retailer groups like the Fashini Group also use us. Revenue growth, you can see the shift in the public sector versus private sector. Initially, obviously, we started in the sort of public sector mindset, and now we sort of shifted that private sector contribution of our business, and that obviously has a positive effect on our GP. Because the public sector pays a lot lower than the private sector. The expansion plan, what do we need the $860,000 for? To be able to improve our warehousing. We're currently based in Cape Town. We want to be able to expand into Durban and Joburg. These are major hubs with regards to our nationwide delivery. 65% of all our deliveries are in those two cities, Johannesburg and Durban. And to be able to obtain these warehouses, you need to customize them for pharmaceutical products. So there's aircon requirements, pest control. So there's all requirements around pharmaceutical warehousing accreditation. We want to be able to provide our local delivery services. This will lower our delivery costs. So currently, it's, for example, 100 Rand to deliver from Cape Town to Joburg. If you are based in Joburg, it drops down to 60 Rand. So that's a 40% saving on logistics costs, which, as you can imagine, is a substantial cost in our service. So we can save there. But we also would be growing our clientele in those areas. Our retail pharmacy market opportunity is quite big, and we feel like we can expand that to acquiring 250 new clients in terms of pharmacies. And over the next 18 months, we want to be able to purchase more e-bikes and cooler boxes. We have special cooler boxes to control the temperature, and then use our logistics management software in new territories. So the pharmacy loss software platform, we feel we can export into other territories. We don't need the actual bikes, and the people can come with their own bikes, and we can just provide them with the software. So we feel that from an international expansion perspective, our software platform will allow us to be able to expand and move into international territories. Last mile delivery, we feel like there's a huge opportunity within certain niches, such as our family planning platform, where we can cross-sell and upsell women's related products related to PrEP, HIV screening, and partner with various marketing companies to promote their brands through our channels as well. So we feel that's quite good. We also now partnering with certain NGOs around the vaccine distribution to doctors and pharmacy staff. So we feel that's going to give us a nice revenue boost because we're going to charge per vaccine. So it's a substantial amount of vaccines that needs to be distributed. Our competition, most of these are big distributors that focus on every aspect of healthcare. We're very niche. We do last mile. We do low income communities, and we're doing independent pharmacies. So we feel that we are because we are so not niche in terms of that low income community, gives us that advantage. Because we also focus on HIV self-testing, family planning. It made us, there was a gap in preventative care, and we took advantage of it. And we use our own technology, and we built our own software. So we don't pay any license fees to any company for logistics management or e-commerce services. So just to show you how we split the private sector and the public sector. So online sales, selling our own products into the pharmacies, the government subcontract to deliver bulk parcels, NGO partners where we're delivering the COVID vaccine. So that's just an illustration for you. and then the various contributions of the revenue across the products. So in terms of our pharmacy services, how much the pharmacies contribute, pull squad, self-testing. Obviously, private sector logistics is growing in terms of our Iyeza logistics contribution. Medipost is the government contract, and the NGO work. So that sort of shows you how we split the revenue in terms of annual turnover. Our intention is to, grow by more than 40% year on year, and that would give us a nice sort of boost in terms of a compounding growth for us over a 5-year period. And just to kind of illustrate to you the assets in terms of the software, as you can see, we've got the geotag capability. We can link patients to particular health sites, be it public sector or private sector. We track, we do proof of delivery. That little box on the back of the bike, you can sort of see how we sort of keep the meds cool with a cooler box, and we track the temperature in the app. We send patients reminders, so there's communication channels between ourselves and the patient. They can see how much fees are outstanding, or how many deliveries they still have left. We use OTPs for patient consent, and we use Microsoft Azure for HL7 for health data storage. Almost done. Okay. And this is our data analytics capability, so we can actually show and deep dive into some of the data. This is just an example of some of our work. We're working in the HIV space, gender, type of medication they're on, type of drugs they're on. This is just an example of all the other assets we've built. So you can see the type of e-commerce platforms we've built. And this is myself. Iyeza is the founder of Iyeza Express. This is our team. Qualified people, years of experience, logistics, pharmacy, and IT. That's the team. That's the size of some of the warehouses we work in, the boxes we deliver. And we've won various competitions. This was Seed Stars in Switzerland in 2019 for the best vaccine platform. And we are a serial winner. And we were Entrepreneur of the Year in 2017 in South Africa. We came fourth for the most innovative company in South Africa. We won Viva Tech in Paris in 2019 and Social Impact Company in November 2018. Thank you. I try to be as swift as possible.
Thank you so much, Siraj. I'm sure you've sort of cut this down. Usually I would imagine it takes you about 20 or so minutes to do this. But if you do have any questions for Siraj, please feel free to put them on the chat box, and we'll be fielding those, or you can use your raise hand feature on Zoom, and we'll be able to give you a chance to unmute yourself and ask a question. So Siraj, there's a couple of questions that came through while you're speaking. So the first one is, could you take people through, what your customer acquisition costs are?
So we are B2B initially, so our customer acquisition cost is extremely low. So for public sector, we have we have endorsement to be able to promote and market our services in clinics. So it's a voluntary service. You choose to sit in the queue, or you sign up for our services. You pay the fee in advance. We take cash or EFT payments, or credit card payments, or debit card payments. We then load that on the platform, and then we schedule your delivery every 25 days. In the private sector, same thing. We sign up with the banks, and they promote our services to the employees. Our new, even in the pharmacy space, based on certain relationships and networks and certain task teams that I sit on, we have access to various pharmacy groups, and we basically sell to the top, and then they want to sort of promote the services through to their subsidiary pharmacies. Our B2C is quite interesting. Before COVID, our B2C was very low because of the acquisition costs, the marketing, the social media, etc. But with COVID, our acquisition cost has become sort of like low as well because of referrals. So people that are using our services are referring, and people are searching for home delivery services as well. And in South Africa, there are tons of food services, delivery services, groceries, food delivery services. Everybody's starting to do that. But for some odd reason, last mile logistics services in low and high income communities doesn't exist. for same day delivery to a large extent, or overnight. The next morning you get your delivery if it's a little bit further out. A lot of other sort of competitors do 3-4 days, and they schedule it. They say, okay, cool, on a Wednesday we're going to do this region, a Thursday we'll do this region. We sort of like, do it the day or the next day.
Right. And closely related to that question is, what's the frequency of your customers actually coming back to use the platform?
The longevity of our clients are normally between 6 to 12 months. Yeah. So the only reason why somebody would not continue using us is because we don't get the prescription again. So it's not always in our control, but we always try to remind them that we need to require a new prescription. But most of the times, people, obviously, for us, it's in our best interest to keep clients, continuing on. But yeah, it's between 6 to 12 months. Okay.
I hope, Mina, that has answered your question in totality. But I'll just go to Joe's question. I'm hoping this is Joe from Beyond Capital. Nice to have you here. So the question is, you do deliver COVID vaccines, other vaccines, HIV tablets, etc. But what's the risk of delivering those drugs?
So we have been hijacked, but not for the commodities, for the driver cell phones. So fortunately, we've not been hijacked for the commodities, but that was because that was normal chronic medication. It's for the grannies and the mothers and the aunts, and for the grandfathers, etc. So to a large extent, people sort of, and because the people were from the community. And then I think that's sort of something that sets us apart, is that we hire from the community. Therefore, they're very familiar. They know the areas. They know where not to go. So our loss rate is basically zero. We've never lost any stock. And that's sort of been quite, but obviously people get mugged and then they lose their phones and their wallets, etc. So that has definitely been an issue. In terms of COVID vaccine, I think, we are not seeing any issues. We anticipated there would be issues, so we've got trackers on all our delivery boxes and vehicles, and so we monitor where the riders are, and they've got alerts. They've got this. So we partner with this outsourced security company where if you have a problem, you just press the button and it sends an alert, and people get SMS to say there's a problem with a particular rider. So that's what we've done around security. So, but to date, we've never lost a shipment.
Okay, but could you talk about the risks in terms of regulation?
Oh, yeah. So the barrier to entry is quite high, and I think for a lot of young entrepreneurs, the idea that if you're looking at Seasway, it's like, oh, he's just a guy with a bike and a mountain and a backpack, and like I can do that too. But I'm a pharmacist. I did an MBA. I did an MPH. It makes it easier if you have a pharmacist as part of your team. It makes it easier if you can purchase your own pharmacy. It makes it easier if you can get the accreditation to be a medicine courier. It makes it easier if you get the accreditation to be a medicine distributor as well. So all those accreditations come with costs. So yes, the regulations are a challenge, and therefore, fortunately, we were able to overcome those and actually tick all the boxes around being able to be a proper pharmaceutical courier and medical device distributor as well. And then also, I think the technology helps as well. I mean, a lot of guys would be working on Excel and paper and stuff like that, and we have audit trails of where the parcels are, when was it delivered, geotag of the location, and those barriers helps us against competitors. Obviously the big corporates are the corporates, but in terms of like smaller entrepreneurs trying to replicate us, it's hard. Whereas to deliver food, it just has to be hot. Ours has to be cool. You have to make sure you deliver to the right patient. You can't get the wrong medication. If somebody gets a hot dog instead of a pizza, they won't be too upset. But if you get blood pressure tablets, to a diabetic patient, that's an issue. So there's lots of controls in place. And yes, it is a challenge, but that's why we had to build our own logistics and, track and trace systems.
Okay, and it's good you mentioned competition, Siraj, because I guess the question is, what's the USP of your platform? Meaning, why courier pharmaceutical products rather than customers just walking into a pharmacy and picking up the drugs themselves? So what's the proposition of the platform?
So, in the private sector, they've always been in the sort of leafy suburbs. People have always sort of had delivery services. They used to Uber Eats, etc. But because of the regulations around medicine, linked to a pharmacy, linked to counseling, make sure you get all the education, there was always this sort of like, no, you have to go in. And the challenge in the South African healthcare is it's overcrowded. There's too little nurses, too little pharmacists, and people are just coming in the whole time. So acute care gets pushed out because the chronic patients are coming in every single month to fetch the medication. So the government has said, look, we need to come up with differential care models, and home delivery is definitely one of the channels that we want to use. We were in the low income community, so we were really sort of well received by the community. We didn't have any challenges around community buy-in, and then we got all the accreditation and the software. And I think the software is what basically sets us apart. That we have our own software that is basically like Uber Eats. Like you basically hail the service, it's scheduled, and we basically use the existing parcel management process of the Department of Health. We don't replicate the new system, create a new reference code, complicate things. We use that existing parcel number, patient clinic number, etc. through our platforms. And then in the private sector, the same thing. There was home deliveries, but I think there were certain areas where people didn't really do it. And we sort of felt that we could take advantage of those sort of lower middle income communities as well. And then COVID just sort of just took it off for us in terms of the adoption rate of home delivery of medicine. So our private sector app basically is very similar to our public sector platform, and people can order over-the-counter medication from the nearest pharmacy. We then geolocate where they are and then purchase from that pharmacy, and then we basically pass on the money, fetch the products, and then deliver the product to the patient. So we don't actually even hold stock for some of these retail pharmacies. We just partner with these pharmacies. So it's been well received.
Okay, and then I'll just take the last one, and this one is from Bill, just because I realized I did him a disservice yesterday by not allowing him to speak. So Bill, if you want to unmute and ask your question, it would be great.
Okay, thank you. My question for you is, I noticed you had pretty high margins. All right, what I view as fairly high margins. Do you expect those margins to decrease with competition? I mean, you've had enough success now that I think you'll get more competition.
So yeah, I think your point is valid. That our current price is say 35 Rand delivery, and people could come in and try to undercut us in terms of that market. So we are happy to take the cut because what we've started to do is it's a new aspect of our business. We were always sort of like Amazon, and the new aspect of our business is sort of digital marketing. So it's almost like free money. So people are starting to partner with us around promotions because of our channel, and that will allow us to kind of take some cuts on our delivery fees, because that subsidization from digital marketing will make up for certain losses. And I think it's something that we would anticipate. I think there's a certain point where you literally can't go lower than, and so we've calculated that break-even point to be about 25 Rand a delivery, because you have to obviously pay for the driver, his services, be it for the effort or for fuel, etc. So there's sort of like a threshold, and even with our volume, we know that's the price. And if you were a startup and you were trying to come into this market, you would be running at a loss. So we know that profitability point where the break even is. So we know how low we can go, and ultimately, I think for ourselves, we're also trying to offer more services. So we are partnering with telemedicine platforms, and they're looking to us because they're like, look, patients are doing consults at home, we're generating the scripts, but how do we get the meds to them? So we like ahead of the curve. So yes, you can start and you see Iyeza, you're like, oh, cool, bicycle delivery, like it's like food, like I'll just deliver medicine. And you realize, oh, but you can't do this because the temperature control. Oh, you can't do that because of audit trails. Oh, you can't do that because you need the tracking number of the prescription parcel that you need to deliver, and you need to know who it went to, geotag, all those things. And like, oh, it's actually quite hard. And then, you know, so we like ahead of the curve. So that gives us that breathing space when competitors do arrive. We're moving into this new space around digital marketing, and collabs is something that we want to partner with. And I think telemedicine is the right collab vehicle for us to say, okay, cool, you prescribe and we deliver. You prescribe, we deliver, and we work with the various pharmacies, and people stay in their lanes. And the telemedicine guys see it as a closed solution. We're happy to white label, so we're happy to kind of sort of go under the banner of the telemedicine platform, and we just do the delivery service for them. So yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Siraj. Because of time, we'll have to stop it from there. But there's a couple of more questions on the chat. So if you could just quickly.
Just in case.
Jenny?
You remind me.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, so Siraj, there's a couple more questions on the chat. So if you could just quickly respond to them on the chat, that would be great. For now, thank you so much, Siraj. For now, we're moving from southern of Africa all the way to east of Africa. And we'll start by, one of the agriculture companies that we sort of had the pleasure to work with, for the past couple of months and years, actually. So Samuel, please feel free to share your screen, and then whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Thanks, Mercy. Good morning, good evening, everyone. It's always a pleasure to share about a farmer's point story. And yeah, it's great to join this section today. I'm Samuel, I'm the CEO of Farmers Pride. And we are building a last mile marketplace that is transforming how last mile agriculture solutions are delivered, how rural farmers access inputs, how rural farmers access information, how rural farmers access education. And we believe that through Farmers Pride Last Mile Marketplace, it's going to transform how massively how African farmers access these three key ingredients that are very key to improving smaller farmer productivity. When you, for example, look at Kenyan market, for example, is massively dominated by rural agro-dealer stores. Actually, over 95% of farmer interactions where rural farmers, smaller farmers access inputs, where farmers access education, where farmers access key services. That market is controlled by these rural agro-dealer stores. So Farmers Pride identified that for us to transform our rural smaller farmers can increase their productivity, then we have to think about how to transform this key segment to work better for smaller farmers, these agro-dealer stores. Talk to any agro-dealer store across different regions across Kenya. They'll talk about challenges around supply chain. They'll talk about challenges around management, limited capital. They'll talk about the limited capacity to offer education. And these challenges, being that these agro-dealers really control a huge chunk of where our smaller farmers access education, access inputs, their problems cascade to become challenges of the farmers they serve, such that farmers are not able to access advisory services, farmers are not able to access quality products, farmers are not able to access the right services, and actually this translates to limiting the success of smaller farmers. And basically, this is the basket of solutions that Farmers Pride model is targeting. The market is significant actually across Africa. For example, we talk about many countries in Africa, Kenya, not an exception. Economies are massively dependent on agriculture, both for economic development and also for employment. So it's a key market segment. We talk about 8.5 million smaller farmers in Kenya, a huge concentration of these last mile agriculture merchants, a massive market for key agriculture products like seed, like fertilizer. It's a significant market we need to target. Farmers' Pride model targets these last mile agriculture merchants, and we transform them into what we call digi shops. And basically, digi shops is a brand, it's a trademark we have given to stores that go through the transformation and eventually join Farmers' Pride network. And we transform them and empower them so that they can offer more improved inputs, services, and advisory to the farmers they serve every day. And how our model works, it works through three key intervention areas. One is we support these stores in terms of supply chain, and how we do it is that we offer them one-stop supply chain solutions such that rural agriculture stores and farmers can be linked directly to credible manufacturers of seeds or fertilizer, of agrochemicals. And basically for us, doing that, we solve the last mile challenge of farmers' access to credible products. Through a one-stop supply chain solution, we solve the challenge of farmers' price exploitation of rural farmers. Through last mile one-stop supply chain solution, we solve the challenge of farmers accessing counterfeit products, basically creating credibility in access for products. And also two is professionalizing these last mile vendors like that. They can offer more superior experience to the farmers they serve every day. And the third level of innovation is technology. We have built a unique technology that helps rural farmers access things they do not have before, for example, advisory and training. And also we leverage on technology to solve, to manage last mile supply chain. That's really very, very complex. And basically through those three key interventions, we are able to transform how last mile rural farmers actually access key inputs they need, services, and advisory, basically. And we are doing this through building a network of last mile network of what we call digi shops, basically transformed, modernized rural agri vendor stores. Actually, COVID-19 has taught us a lot of lessons, and one of them is that across Africa, including even Kenya, agriculture is really heavily dependent on, when you talk about delivery of education and advisory, physical delivery. We have the demo farm, traditional demo farms, we have farmer group training, and actually one of the key delivery of education through physical delivery of education, for example, demo farm and group training is very expensive, it's not sustainable. And that's why Farmers' Pride model is leveraging on technology, actually to sustainably scale last mile delivery of education, sustainably scale last mile delivery of farmer services, basically. Because we believe that traditional delivery of these solutions is not sustainable, and it's collapsing very fast. And we also believe that local agri vendors can really be massively transformed to catalyze our rural farmers access key services. And basically through the same 4 intervention areas, offering one-stop supply chain, that's what Farmers' Pride are doing, and transforming these stores to offer more superior customer experience, making them more professional and more modern, and also leveraging on technology really to catalyze how last mile solutions are delivered. And stores joining the network, they are able to have advantage on pricing, advantage on supply chain, advantage on management, and actually this works to the benefit of the farmers they serve every day. Our target customers are smaller farmers. Actually, the same cuts across many African countries. Smaller farmers, they keep cows, they keep poultry, they also do crops. And for us, this really gives us demand across the year. And it's an indicator that you can sustainably build a commercial business around distribution of agriculture inputs across the year, basically. We also much bigger demand in the 2 seasons of the year, but basically with the mixed farming target markets, then you can sustainably build a commercially sustainable business. Stores joining Farmers' Pride network that transform into digi shops. They have drastically demonstrated ability to really increase in revenues, increase in customer traffic, and for us, actually, this is a key indicator of the effectiveness of digital model. When we talk about competition, one of the key things we really leverage on in terms of farmers' competitive advantage is ability to combine both franchising as a really trusted, credible business model with unique technology really to offer a basket of effective solutions to rural smaller farmers. We have seen models going fully 100% tech, and we have seen the challenges with that. We have seen models going 100% offline, and we have seen the challenge of that. And for us, being able to offer integrate agro-dealer franchising and technology is a farmers' competitive advantage. We're also working on a credit product to reinforce the value add we are offering to those smaller farmers. So far, we have built 25 DigiShops. We are looking at more rapid scale from this year across reached 1,000. We have created 65 direct jobs. We are looking at more rapid scale. We are currently servicing 18,000 farmers. We are looking at scaling this much faster beginning this year. And we also track the impact at smaller farmer level, income. Actually, for us, when our farmers increase farm productivity, that translates to farmer income. And we are in 2 regions in Kenya. We are looking at national coverage the next 18 months. Our revenue model, our revenue is around, we take margins on the inputs and services we distribute through digital platform. And for us, our unit economics is we need $2,000 to launch 1 DigiShop. We recoup this over average 6 months. And every DigiShop hands farmers pride, 600. Our revenue growth is tied to growth in expanding the number of DigiShops. We hand $600 per month for every DigiShop we onboard. And each DigiShop services, from 5 kilometer radius, 500 farmers on average from 5 kilometer radius. Our revenues have been growing significantly since inception. We closed at $61,000 in 2020. We are looking at doubling this number in 2021 and rapidly scale that across the years. We are currently running a seed round and looking at $1 million convertible debt and equity, and this will really support our scale. The scale we are looking at the next 24 months for the DigiShops onboarded, improvement in our technology, new areas, and also support generally the scale, the rapid scale we are looking at the next 18 months. And the vision for our scale, yes, we have mapped our scale path in terms of regions and territories across Kenya. We already know where we'll scale the next 6 months, the next 1 year, the next 18 months. But we're also looking at reinforcing and improving the value we are adding to our smaller farmers. That's why we are working on a credit product. And then the next 18 months, we'll have national coverage. And before we launch Pan-African expansion. We have a super good team. My experience, I've really built super good last mile businesses before I jumped to starting off Farmers Pride. We have Joel has been key supporter. He's experienced in supporting startups to scale rapidly. We have Nancy, very strong background in agriculture and management. We have a super team that we're also looking at new hires this quarter. Actually, we are looking at a CTO coming on board the next 1 month or 2. We are looking at a CFO coming on board the next 1 month or 2. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samuel. That was a really good presentation. So just a reminder, if you do have any questions for Samuel, please feel free to put them in the chat. We'll then tackle them after. But for those of you who've actually previously interacted with Samuel, given that I know some of you have, you would realize that his model has sort of pivoted just a bit. So Samuel, do you want to sort of mention that pivot, how you pivoted?
Actually, Farmers Pride model began, and actually how we began Farmers Pride is my experience rolling out franchise network for Coca-Cola. That's where I spent a couple of years working for Coca-Cola, rolling out their last mile distribution across East Africa. And we jumped to build Farmers Pride as a 100% franchise model. We ran that for a year and a half. And one of the lessons we learned building an 100% franchise model, offline model, is that it became very, very difficult, for example, to scale education and to, for example, to scale last mile education. When Farmers Pride moved to new communities and new regions, we always had a need to hire an agronomist, to hire a veterinary officer, and also go to a new region, hire a new agronomist, hire a new veterinary officer. And basically, we learned that this was not sustainable at all. And that's why actually the idea of technology came on board to integrate with the original model. And for us, this, for example, really drastically and significantly first reduced our cost for marketing. For example, our marketing, we take, when we talk about marketing in our business, is the cost we incur to deliver extension and advisory. Because for us, when our farmers are more empowered, they will translate to more traffic in the digi shops. Digi shops will register higher sales. Digi shops will purchase more Farmers Pride. So leveraging technology has really drastically reduced our cost for extension. And for us, including even our staffing now. Originally, we thought about scaling with massive staff, especially extension staff. Right now, we have three. Actually, we have kept that the last 3 years, and we don't look at scaling that team actually because of leveraging technology, basically. For us, I think that was the pivot, integrating the original model with the technology, and I think it has worked very well so far.
Okay, great. So there's a question around, your DigiFarm and what the platform can actually be able to do. So can you actually provide credits to farmers through the platform, or even through the the shops that you're actually financing? Is that a possibility?
So what the platform can do, very simple things. For example, a farmer anywhere will be able to know the nearest digi shop. Basically for us, this is very important for us because when you talk about Farmers Pride revenue drivers, then the digi shops are very key for us in terms of driving revenue. So farmers will know the nearest digi shop. Per county, per location, farmers will connect to an expert who is near them, an agronomist. Farmers can seek consultation, and also farmers can purchase products to our accredited digi shops. So basically, it's around that. And now we have started figuring out, thinking around how do we expand the value of every single purchase for our farmers? And one of the lessons that have come up so far is that, for example, last planting season, we have, and every planting season, for example, we have farmers when rains kick off, their farm need, for example, 5 packets of hybrid seed. They have money to maybe purchase 3 packets. So they'll come in the first day when the rains come, and then they'll purchase 3 packets. And then after a week, the same farmer will come and purchase the rest of the 2 packets. Then we say, how we can leverage on, for example, credit products. For us, it will really work on our advantage in terms of pushing revenues at the bishop level and also work on revenues at the farmers per level. So in terms of credits, not yet. We are building that product to embed in our product offerings.
Okay, great. And are you able to sort of track farmer outcomes through the platform, or at least assess the impact that your platform is having to the farmers?
Yeah, basically we know every farmer what the service they access. For example, consultation services, we link that to the inputs purchased, we link that to the crop grown, we link that to the yield that farmer gets. And for us, that's the end, because generally we measure impact for every farmer on changing farm yield. And for us, that's changing income.
Okay. And currently, how many regions do you actually operate in?
We are in 2 regions now. We are in Western Kenya, and basically strategically, we began in Eastern Kenya. We are very huge concentration now in Eastern Kenya. We launched Western Kenya last quarter of last year. And now we want to also have a huge concentration in Western Kenya, and then we join Eastern and
Okay, great. So I see Shiro's questions are really packed. So Samuel, I'd allow you to go into the chat and just respond to her directly, or just post it in the group. But because of time, I guess we'll have to move to the next entrepreneur. But Samuel, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. Great. All right. So yeah, so some of you may have seen him today morning being announced as, one of the Sankar runners-up. So I really think it would be good for you to actually have a more one-on-one interaction with him. So Bonnie, welcome. Please feel free to share your screen, and then whenever you're ready, begin.
Thank you. Thank you. Get the correct one. I had so many things opened. I hope, yes, should be this one. Okay. Yeah, so my name is Bonnie Mbithi. I'm CEO for the WEEE Center. So WEEE Center, we're in a different kind of sector, I would say. We recycle electronic waste. So our work is purely on e-waste recycling, making sure the environment is safe. So this is just a few facts and reasons why we exist. So in absence of a company like WEEE Center, this is how people would dispose the electronic waste in many African countries. So you have people who just illegally trade to the highest bidder. And when people buy this e-waste from companies or from the public, they just try and get whatever is precious to them, and then the rest is dumped. So they just pick the cherry and the cake is dumped to the environment. And of course, these electronics are made up of very toxic metals and heavy metals. So for us as a company, we exist to make sure that this e-waste is not ending up in the dump sites or ending up in the rivers. And then on the right here, these are just statistics about Kenya. For example, we are generating about 51.3 thousand tons annually, and only 1% of this is properly managed. So the other 99% is just either illegally traded or dumped or just stored. And of course, down here you'll see how much value we can get from this if we just make sure that these materials are very well extracted. We are not dumping them. There's a lot of revenues that we can get from this. So this is what we do. So at the WEEE Center, this is all the solutions that we provide from e-waste collection. So we collect from companies. So for companies, we have running contracts, service level agreements with them. They pay us per kilogram or per item. So we have items that are charged either in kgs. Others, we just know that if it's a monitor, CPU, this is the cost. Yeah, so we have contracts, especially with the producers, the big original equipment manufacturers. We have contracts with them. And then remanufacturing is also another solution we offer. So once we do the collection, we're able to get parts or materials that we can use to remanufacture other things. So currently what we are doing, like with the batteries, we have equipment to test batteries to the cell level. The cells that are working, we make our own battery packs that can be used for home solar systems. So now those batteries again go back to the ecosystem. And then refurbishment, we do refurbish, especially laptops, computers, and then we donate. Some we donate to schools. We have our sister NGO, which is Computers for Schools Kenya. With that NGO, our work is purely to donate equipment and support ICT in education. So with that, we've done over 450,000 computers that we've distributed all over the country. Others we've sent out to our neighboring countries. And then other equipment we also refurbish, and they're sold to the market just to raise our income. Data destruction, we ensure that all the equipment we receive from companies or any disposer, we make sure that data is properly taken care of. We have physical, we have software, and we have other techniques to make sure that data is taken care of, and we charge, of course, for that. And then materials, the materials that we extract from these electronics, and then we sell to the local industries here to make different things like plastics. We shred, sell them to plastic dealers who make different things. We have companies extracting diesel from our plastic. Others are making plastic fencing poles. So there's a lot they do with the plastics and other fractions that we get from the e-waste. Projects, we run projects around training on e-waste management. We train companies on that. We train governments. We also create awareness. And then these three, the ones that are in orange, these are our future plans. Yeah, these are things we want to go into. We've not tapped into this. So carbon credits, of course, we need to now start treating that as a revenue stream. Precious fractions, urban mining, we want to, in fact, the reason why we are fundraising for capital is to set up an urban mining facility, which means we want to now start extracting precious metals from the electronics, things like gold, palladium, and all these other precious metals. For now, the materials, or rather the fractions that have such, we exporting to partners. So we have downstream partners in Belgium, Germany, and Finland, and other countries. So we ship, but we want to now start offering those in Africa. Then EPR is, of course, whereby these producers will be able to pay the government of Kenya, for example, for any electronics that they're bringing in, and then those monies go to the recycler, like now WEEE Center. So this is just a demonstration of a business model, which is fully circular. From the collection, we collect from the consumer, then take inventory of everything. We usually send a report back to the disposer. Say, this is everything that you disposed, serial numbers, tonnage, everything, all for accountability. Then this stage is manual. We manually disassemble everything so that you have everything in their own chemical families. This is like the batteries. This is just a demonstration of the battery testing equipment. These are lithium-ion batteries. These ones we are testing and making those battery packs. You find 70% of the batteries that are disposed with us, they are working. Yeah, you just find when the consumer finds the equipment, battery equipment is not working, they just throw it away. But when we test, you find most of the cells are working and they can be reused. And then reuse and recycling. Here we have different ways of reusing. Like this is just a sample of a motherboard, which has made the notebook. And then there are very many ways of reusing laptops, computers, mobile phones, all these things. Then whatever we cannot reuse or recycle, it's taken now to the final treatment. So we ensure that nothing will end up again in the environment. This is just a demonstration of how that process works. So our e-waste comes from, sorry? Okay. So our e-waste comes from these people, commercial companies, industrial, consumers, governments, and then how we collect it. We have direct collections. So we have about 8 collection centers across the country. Those are in the 8 old provinces in Kenya. We've also set up other collection points with other partners, drop-off points. Like we have drop-off points in all Carrefour supermarkets, Safaricom shops. Then we also get some e-waste from the informal sector. And then we have other agencies that collect for us. And then this is just the process that I've explained in the other slide of what we do with the e-waste once it gets to us. And then this is just a small representation of how the revenues look like from 2018 to 2019. For 2018, 2019, there was a very huge gap because in 2018, we did a lot of infrastructure investment. We set up in about 21 counties to enable those counties easily dispose their e-waste. We also increased collectors. So right now we have over 630 people who work for WEEE Center. They collect from different counties and then they bring to us for disposal. So this is why there was this increase in revenues, and also at the same time we were handling a government project that brought in a lot of revenues. And then this is how the projections look like. In 2021, perhaps this might be 2022, because we did this assuming that we'll be able to raise capital early, but because of COVID, of course, that has slowed down. So this should be maybe 2022 when we raise capital and we establish these other revenue sources. So what we're looking at is to raise $5.4 million. And this is what we'll do with that money. Of course, the urban mining equipment, we have to bring in more machinery to be able to extract these things, precious metals and the rest, and also for treatment. We'll be able to spend 1.6 million on expansion of buildings, because we'll need more storage and more warehouses. And then we have to upgrade the existing collection centers and, of course, working capital. And then we are looking at a mixture of equity or debt. Yeah. Milestones. So these are the jobs we've created. Of course, the ripple effect is bigger than this. So I assume maybe we should be over 3,000 if we look at it on the ripple effect. And then training. We train the youth and also small business owners how to repair computers, mobile phones, for them also to know that once these things reach end of life, if you cannot repair them, return them to WEEE Center for disposal. So we have a very good relationship with the repair shops and also informal sector, so that if there are things they cannot handle, they bring to us. Then exchange programs. We have a partnership with the Norwegian government, so we send people on exchange, especially in countries where we have interest, where we want to maybe set up EOS management facilities, or we want to learn from them. So we get youths going to those countries and others coming to WEEE Center for knowledge transfer. And then to date, we've disposed over 10,000 tons of e-waste. This is up to 2019. And of course, avoided over 14,400 tons of CO2. On education, we have Digitrax. These are mobile computer labs. Currently we have 2. So the entire roof is solar powered. They move from one county to another, training people on digital literacy. At the same time, when we teach them about computers, we have to teach them that one day these things will be not working. You have to take them to a licensed and a proper recycling facility. So we train them on that, and also entrepreneurship for them to be able to start or do their own businesses.
Right. So Bonnie,
yes.
Yeah. If you could just go quickly to the Q&A session,
Okay.
just because we're running out of time. But if you want to take us through this.
I'm actually done, Mercy. So this is just a team, and then some of our customers across Africa. So that's just it. So maybe now we can go to Q&A.
All right. Thank you so much, Bonnie. And if you do have questions for him, kindly feel free to put them in the chat box. So Bonnie, if you could just go back to your financial slide, there's a question around, the currency that your financials are in.
Yes. This slide?
Yes. So is this in USD? Is it in KES?
This is in US dollars.
Okay. All right. And then some quick comments from Herman. He says, great work. But if you do have any other questions for Bonnie, I know we are all tired, especially the folks from, the continent, or people who changed the, time zones to fit the East African time zone. But if you bear with us, we just have a few more minutes to go. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. So there's a question from Shiro as well, in terms of the EBITDA margins. Is that accurate? Is it very optimistic?
It is. I would say it's a mixture of both. Here the growth is very high because on where we have 2021 is because when we go to urban mining, what we mean is that we'll be trading in precious metals. So we'll be trading in things like silver, palladium. So we'll actually be selling the metals. So based on that, and that's something that we've not been doing. We've been just shipping out all these fractions that have those. So if we set up that, the margins will really go up. So this is, I would say this is accurate. We have a financial model to support it.
Okay. Well, I guess you can take that up with Shiro offline, because I guess EBITDA margins of 95% might be seen as too high. But then to the next question, you know, how do you plan on achieving this scale? I mean, you've already talked about, you know, other special metals, but you know, what would be the sourcing like? How would the sourcing look like, especially in terms of scale?
Yeah, so our sourcing for now has been mainly from companies, and these mostly have been multinationals. As you've seen from one of the slides there, this has been multinationals and most embassies. So we also want to target the SMEs, and at some point we also want to go into giving incentives to the informal sectors and also to the SMEs. So we project to increase our volumes. Currently, we do about 300 tons of e-waste every year without purchase of any e-waste and without being aggressive in terms of marketing. So with the marketing plans and more collection centers and drop-off points, we anticipate we'll be able to do up to 2,000 tons annually. And if we get 2,000 or 1,800 tons of e-waste annually, we'll be able to at least meet those margins.
Okay. All right. So please feel free to clarify any other questions in the chat box, Bonnie. But it was such a pleasure having you join us. You know, despite your busy day in the summit. Thank you so much, Bonnie.
All right. Thank you.
Great. So now we move on to Tanzania, which again, some of you may have actually interacted with this company yesterday. They were one of our, you know, Sankap Awards runners-up. So Brigitte Innocent, if you're on the line, Innocent.
I hope everybody can see this.
Clearly, yes.
Thank you very much. So my name is Innocent Ndodiabike, CFO of Obri Tanzania. So sunflower is one of the greatest businesses in Tanzania, and sunflower oil so is. Tanzania is one of the largest producers of sunflower seeds in Africa. Despite this, Tanzania imports, you know, over 120 million worth of cooking oil. The importation of cooking oil is actually increased by one, lack of processing facilities in Tanzania. You know, because of the lack of processing facilities in Tanzania, most of sunflower seeds that is produced ends up being exported, and oil is then produced outside the country and then imported, either as semi-refined or completely unrefined oil, and then refined in Tanzania and then sold at a high price. There's a lack of storage facilities. You know, since the largest part of sunflower farming is done by small-scale farmers, and most of who are actual women, you know, who keep the families intact. They do not have access to modern storage facilities, and as such, either if they produce more than what the market can actually absorb, then the rest goes to waste. So for the last 5 years, Obri Tanzania has intervened in the market to offer our solutions, and we have been doing this through working directly with sunflower smallholder farmers and especially women, you know, to process, brand, and supply high quality and affordable sunflower cooking oil. So our intervention has been through three modules. One is to provide strategic trainings to small scale farmers, especially women, especially in the southern part of Tanzania, in Lindi and Mtwara and the Ruvuma regions, and in the central part of Tanzania, Dodoma and Singida. And then we have been doing that, of course, with strong collaboration from local government authorities, as well as the support from NGOs, especially in this case, notably the Aga Khan Foundation. Number two is we offer market. We provide market for you know, these small scale farmers who offer our solutions. Who offer the products or the produces or seeds to us. And we have been doing this by purchasing the seeds at a price that is 3 or sometimes 4 times more than what they are offered by middlemen. Number 3, we go on, you know, to process all the seeds into affordable and healthy oil, which we sell in the market at a price lower than the competition. And currently, currently we are selling 1 liter for 4,500 shillings, while our competitors sell, you know, at a price that is either 5,000 or 5,500 shillings. So in terms of outreach, we are currently working with 1,872 women farmers, and that is the accumulative number of women that we have worked with thus far. And we are looking at, you know, more than 3,000 women farmers by the end of 2021. So in terms of impact, during the harvest season, you know, where we purchase most of the seed these farmers produce, they are able at least to generate, you know, $7, you know, $7 compared to $2 that they are offered by the normal middlemen, you know, who normally purchase these seeds for exportation. In terms of financials, in 2018, we managed to generate sales revenue of 395 grand. And then in 2019, we grossed 685 grand. And then in 2020, despite the COVID-19 pandemic, we managed to increase our revenue to 700 grand. And then, you know, we are looking at 1.1 million US dollars by 2021. And hopefully, we are looking at, 1.1 million US dollars in 2021 and 2.2 million US dollars by the end of 2022. In terms of our EBITDA have been ranging between 47 to 48%, and then declined to 28, and then 30, 35. And we are hoping going forward, our EBITDA margin is going to range at least between 35 to 45, depending on the nature of harvest material. Our business model is we sell most of our product to supermarkets and hotels and restaurants and distributors. And the 120 million US dollars is only the Tanzanian market opportunity. And we are looking forward to move to Mozambique by the end of 2022, and to grow our network of farmers, of women farmers, as I mentioned in the last slide, by 4,000 in 2022, and hopefully 6,000 to 7,000 by the end of 2023. So we are looking to raise more than $500,000, 566 grand to be specific, half of which is going to be invested in storage facilities, because storage in this business is of essence, in a sense that if you have modern storage facilities for raw materials, that means you are able to produce, on a continuous basis, as opposed to what we are actually doing right now. And then we'll invest, 30% of that much into processing equipment, and then the rest 20% into branding and packaging.
Right.
Yeah, so that is the team. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, happy to take any questions. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Innocent. Again, just to reiterate, if you have any questions for Obri, please feel free to put them in the chat box. But I don't know whether Brigitta has been able to join us, Innocent. Brigitta,
Yes.
if you're online, can you hear us? Okay. Okay, perfect. I guess she hasn't yet. But Innocent, the first question that comes in is around, adulteration of sunflower oil, especially in the East African market, making the oil cheaper. So the question, I guess, is, at how scalable can you be at your price point? Especially considering that, the big dogs who are actually processing sunflower oil, are selling it much lower, given that they're getting it from seed cake. What would be your response to that?
Okay. Thank you very much. So we understand that the oil processing and then distribution industry in Tanzania, despite that huge opportunity, is really very competitive on account of the big wigs in the industry. But our narrative has always been, to work directly with farmers, something that these big wigs are not doing. And with that, we are able to charge, per liter or per unit volume of each of oil at a price that is lower than the competition. That is what I said. And I did mention that we are selling, for instance, a couple of weeks ago, there has been a rise in the price of oil in Tanzania, from the 4,500 shillings up to 5,500 shillings, 1,000 jump. But that has been in the market. But we, as Obri Tanzania, have maintained the price at 4,500, because we do know that in the end, if you push the price that much, the market that we are serving, especially the middle and low income Tanzania, isn't in a position, to be able to, to purchase consistently, on elevated prices. So we are confident, as Obri Tanzania, at that price point, we are in a position to actual scale, given the right kind of investment, because we are exposed better, especially from supply of basic raw materials point of view, than our competitors in this case.
All right, sorry about that. So I guess the question is more direct to the likes of Bidco. Given that they already have a huge market share, and you are Obri, in Tanzania, yet Bidco operates around East Africa. So I guess the question is, how competitive can you be, given such a competitive landscape?
Thank you. So my question is going to be more or less the same as what I've said. We do know that Bidco, and then there is Sundrop, and other big players in the Tanzanian market. Mm-hmm. They do have significant distribution power. That right. is beyond question. But again, what they're offering their product, at a relatively higher price than we do. So our competitive advantage from where we stand now is actually the price point, but also in the way we actually source the best raw materials. Mm-hmm. Why most of these guys, Bidco in Tanzania, from what I understand, is they import unrefined, sunflower oil, most of it, from India, from Malaysia, and then they refine it in Tanzania. And so that means if they were to charge at the same price just as we do, then definitely they wouldn't be able to generate significant margin that will keep them in the market for long. Mm-hmm. So our competitive advantage remains in remaining, loyal to our basic supply of raw materials, and in this case, small scale farmers. And our narrative has been to go further, to engage the big, NGOs, and in this case, right, the Aga Khan Foundation, which has a pool of 20,000 small scale women mm-hmm. farmers across Tanzania. And so we believe that in the next short to medium term, we are able to actually source raw materials without any problems at all.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Such a pleasure having you present to us. Thank you so much, Innocent. I know in the beginning I had said we have 4 companies, but please do bear with us because we have one more company, People's Pension, all the way from Ghana. So I know Finca Ventures, Melissa, probably this is right up your alley. So if Kofi, you could quickly share your screen and take us quickly through your presentation, and then we'll take it from there. Kofi, I think your audio, you're on mute if you're speaking.
Hello.
Yes, perfect. We can now hear you.
Good, good. So I hope you have my screen now.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you very much. So in Ghana, we have almost 13 million informal sector workers. Across West Africa, we are talking about 400 million, and globally, we are looking about over 1 billion informal sector workers. The sad reality is that these are people who would end up in old age poverty. People's Pension has come in to help solve this income insecurity in old age poverty by providing pension and income resilience to this group of people. My name is Kofi Polly, and it's my pleasure to present to you our solution to this problem of old age poverty. But at this stage, I'll introduce you to one of our members. It's called Justina. Justina is a market woman who operates in Makola. Makola is one of the busiest markets in West Africa. Justina, before she met us, had planned to depend on her children during old age. After meeting us and we talking here about how to plan for retirement, Justina decided to be a member of our scheme. Life is not easy for Justina. He tries to make ends meet, but now he's able to put down $4 a week in her pension account. Justina has taken advantage of the withdrawal opportunity to withdraw part of her contribution to improve her business. Currently, we are exploring partners that will help us to upskill our members, because most of the members are in the informal sector and they need to have a very good knowledge of at least financial literacy, how to keep their books and all that. So we are currently exploring. But at this stage, I'll quickly give a brief of the product that we are selling. When you register to become a member, we create 2 accounts for you. The first account, we call it the retirement account, and we have what we call the savings account. With the retirement account, you cannot touch it until you are 60 years and above, going for old age retirement, or there is invalidity through sickness or accident, you can't work again. You can have access to your funds. And of course, death, when death occurs, then when you register, you nominate beneficiaries, and then we pass on this money to the beneficiaries. With the savings account, after 6 months of your initial contribution, you can always come and make a withdrawal. The interesting thing is that our statistics and analysis show that most of our members come and make a withdrawal to improve on their business and also to deal with emergencies. What we have done is also embed in it a life insurance bonus. So for every contribution that a member makes, just 0.35% is taken to pay a premium for his life insurance bonus. So in the event of the death of a member, the beneficiary will get 4 times his previous year's contribution, apart from all that he has contributed with us plus interest that has accrued. We came up with this idea because the scheme being so young, we realized that when people pass away, and if you know Ghana and West Africa, funeral is a big deal. So when people pass away and we give these funds, instead of them using the funds to take care of the children, especially school-going age, they are more interested in using it for funerals. And therefore, the idea is that, look, let's get this bonus. This bonus can then be used to take care of funerals, and then the contribution can take care of the children going to school. We have a lot of destiners, and we've made it so easy so that they can easily just register, contribute, and make withdrawal through the use of mobile phones via the mobile money by using a very easy USSD app. Currently, quite recently, for someone like Justina, he moved away from paying cash to what we call automatic deductions on the mobile phone. So with that one, you will decide that, for example, every week or every month, a certain amount of money should move from my mobile wallet into my pension account. And once you select that option, then every week, provided there's enough money in your wallet, it will sweep into our account. Yes, we know that there are some who do not even have phones, some who are not savvy with these kind of things. So we have agents on the field who have also created what we call the agent app. So they will take your cash and send us mobile money from their mobile phone. And by doing this, the members are getting to understand that it is quite easy, they can do it, and it's helping us. We send SMS receipts to, once we receive money from you, you get SMS receipts, and we are currently rolling a voice over receipt to most of the members who are illiterates. We are also in the, we are almost ready with our digital mobile app that those who are very savvy with tech who can use to make their payment and do all kinds of things with us. COVID-19 taught us a huge lesson. And the lesson it taught us is that it's about time we move from high-tech to high-tech. And so for us, the opportunity is to transcend from high-tech to high-tech, where all interactions will be digital. We plan to be very innovative, and we want to do this through behavioral science, human-centered designs, data analytics, artificial intelligence, which we believe will help us to develop innovative financial products that will meet the needs and aspirations of our members. We are also utilizing partnerships to scale up through learning and innovation. So for example, one of the things we've done is that we have partnerships with telcos, 2 telcos in Ghana, Vodafone and Airtel Tigo. So what they do is that they will send SMS blasts to their members talking about our scheme. And those who are interested will just sign on. And then they will use the telcos payment platform to send their contributions to us. For people's pension, we believe that old age poverty is a clear and present danger. And we wish and hope that all of us will come on board to solve this problem. Currently, we have 46,000 members, 35% are active. Out of that, we have 60% of them being women. Our membership in the informal sector cuts across from taxi drivers, cocoa farmers, traders, artisans, poultry farmers, and all kinds of people in the informal sector. The average contribution amount is $3.5, and the average withdrawal amount is $60. Currently, our asset under management is 1.25 million. What we are planning to do, our ambition is to replicate this model we have in Ghana to enable us to provide millions of customers across the region with income security. So we want to move to countries like Nigeria, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Egypt, and even the Middle East. Because like I mentioned earlier on, globally, we have over 1 billion informal sector workers. Some of our partners that have been supporting us are what you see down there: FSD, Africa, Codate, Sorensen, AHL, MView, FMO, CGAP, and DRK. This is our team. Mr. Sakib Nazo is the Chief Executive Officer who has 20 years of experience running technology business and is focused on fintech and financial inclusion. Myself, I've been in the pension industry for over 15 years, but I was a member of the team that developed the first informal sector scheme back in 2004, which the then statutory body, Social Security National Insurance Trust, ran for over a period of 5 years. Samuel Boatin is our communications head. He's a PR and a media expert. He holds a degree in PR and industrial arts. Mr. Boachi Adom is our Chief Financial Officer. He's a chartered accountant with over 20 years experience. And we have Kanini Mutini, who is a DRK board member and who is very supportive and has been good to us, giving us all kinds of ideas and support, both financially, technically, and strategically. We hope to build a better tomorrow for most of our people with your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kofi. Is it possible to see your lovely face this evening?
Oh, I'm sorry. I even forgot.
No. Thank you so much for taking the time off your evening to spend with us.
It's a pleasure.
Yes. And for some of you who've actually interacted with People's Pension before, during the last year's Africa Summit, this is the new team that has actually been formed. I think it's quite a formidable team. And so if you do have any questions for People's Pension, I know Bill and Tony, you may have interacted, quite closely with Samuel last year in the conference. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, for now, I'd like maybe to hear from Kenneth. Kenneth, I think we were with you in a session today, and you said you do focus in Uganda, I think East Africa. So I don't know, is West Africa also a geographical focus of yours?
Hello. Yeah. No. Sorry. Is not at the moment, not directly, no. Okay. If we do, it's just through partnership with other investors in that market. And to that end, perhaps we built out co-investors that we work with in those markets that we're happy to share with any entrepreneurs. Okay.
Absolutely understood. There is a question from Bill, however, Kofi. Do you consider 35% active rate among members to be expected, or is that too low? And if it's too low, how can you then raise that up?
Yeah, so it is low. It is not what we expect. So that's the more reason why we are trying to go tech, because we realize that for say the people we are dealing with, you have to go to the person before the person will make payment of contribution. And therefore, if you don't reach out, the person is not paying. But if you're able to sign most of them on our mobile system where you do a direct auto debit, so that you see that every week I will pay maybe $1. Then the moment the week comes, once there's money in your wallet, it will just sweep it into your pension account. And that will increase our active rate. So 35 is, for us, is quite low. And we hope, in fact, our target for 2021 is to get to 65%.
Okay, perfect. I guess that's the questions for now. I want to just give a quick shout to Maina Murage. Please feel free to unmute and say hi to the rest of the delegates on call. Just because you've been quite an active member. So Maina, I'm assuming you are from DOB.
Yeah, thank you, Marcy. Thanks for the shout out, and thanks to all the entrepreneurs who've pitched. Good to hear from you, and hopefully we'll be speaking soon. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, perfect. Thanks so much, Maina. For now, I guess we will close this. Please feel free to join us tomorrow, for the scale companies, companies that are already at their scale stage or growth stage. We do have about 3 companies that will present tomorrow, so they'll have more time with you. So please feel free to join us if that's, a stage of companies that you're looking to build pipeline for. But for now, this has really been lovely. If you're just starting your day, have a lovely rest of the day. And if it's evening on your side, have a good evening. But again, please feel free to connect with all these entrepreneurs through Brella. They should all be signed up. And if you do want, a direct connection to them, we are happy to facilitate that. For now, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Bill, again, for helping us curate the session. I cannot say this enough. You've really been of great support and a champion for IntelliCap and SunCap. So do have a lovely rest of the day and have a good evening.